Phoenix Jones is the leader of a 10-member real-life superhero group called the Rain City Superhero Movement, which operates in Seattle and Linwood, Washington. At night, he enters a secret room of an unnamed comic book store and dons a costume consisting of a bulletproof vest, stab plating, taser, nightstick, and mace. He says the best way to prevent getting mistaken for a criminal by the police is to wear a supersuit. Phoenix does not condone other people dressing up and fighting crime. He says that all members of the Rain City Superhero Movement have military and or mixed martial arts backgrounds. Phoenix Jones, welcome to this special real-life superheroes edition of the Global Freedom Report. How are you?
I'm great. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine. I'm glad we can get you on the phone. Sorry about the earlier technical problems. How did you come to be a superhero? I mean, what started you on this path?
You know, it's one of those things. I've been breaking up fights, my entire life. I got suspended from high school for breaking up a fight and beating up both people fighting. So I've literally been doing it for a long time. What triggered the real life superhero aspect was when someone broke into my car and my son was hurt in the process. I realized that I wanted to make a difference out there, and I started wearing a mask to hide my identity so no one would come after me. And it kind of evolved into the suit you see now.
Fantastic. Now, you mentioned training and such. What kind of training do you have that helps you with your work as a superhero?
I have 3 different black belts and 3 different types of martial arts, over 20 mixed martial arts fights, 5 kickboxing fights, 5 boxing fights. I'm in pretty decent shape, and I've been training in hand-to-hand combat for almost 10 years now.
Oh, I want you with me next time I go down a dark alley.
Yeah, we purposely find dark alleys around patrol. We're like, oh, look, dark alley.
Oh, boy. What was it like for you when you first realized that there was actually a superhero community, when you first made contact?
Well, it's kind of a weird thing. I had a different experience with the superhero community than other people. The community as a whole doesn't really like me very much. So it was kind of a sad day because I felt like, yay, I have friends. And I felt like, oh, no, wait, you still don't.
Wait a moment. So they don't like you, so why not?
It's a large conversation, but the gist of it is, most of the superheroes do a lot of homeless outreach and a lot of just homeless preparedness. I go after criminals and actually get into physical altercations with them and handcuff them, zip tie them, hold them down, whatever I have to do to stop violent crime and actually get them arrested. And the other real-life superheroes are worried that I'm going to make people angry, and they're going to have to deal with the retribution of that.
But you have Rain City Superhero Movement. You have a group of 10 right there in your region. Are they feeling the same way on that issue?
Oh, no. I created that group. I tried to join the Real Life Superhero Group, and they didn't want me to be a part of that, so I created my own group, the Rain City Superhero Movement. And those are all 10 of my closest friends and associates in the city that all have the same kind of training that I do. And we go out and together we bust criminals. Just last weekend we stopped a bat fight in a parking lot. Guys were fighting with baseball bats, and my crew came in and broke it up. So
Wow. That's got to feel good to you guys and everything. What kind of uniform do you wear?
It's kind of funny. I'm in a backup uniform considering the police confiscated my main uniform. But the backup one I have is gold and black. It's a gold and black rubber suit lined with Kevlar and stab plating that's black with a gold V across the chest.
Now, is Phoenix Jones your superhero name? Or
Yes. Yeah, it is. Yes, sir.
Phoenix Jones. Do you have any kind of insignia or symbol or anything like that you use to identify you?
No, not really. I thought about a symbol, and then I realized that I don't want to be the right one. The name itself, Phoenix Jones, the last name, the reason I chose Jones is it's the most common name in America. So it was just for everybody, for the average person. So I didn't want it to I didn't want to have a symbol that some people may like or not like. I wanted it to literally be like, this is for everybody.
Okay, that's fair. Now, I gather just, from some of the information I read on you at the beginning that you maintain your identity somewhat secret, that is separate from Phoenix Jones. Is it really a kept secret, or do people in the communities where you patrol all know who you really are? Like, as an example, the Golden Age Flash comics. Flash, everyone knew who Flash was. Not the modern Flash, but the Flash from the 40s. Everybody knew who it was.
Well, I actually maintained my identity pretty secret for almost 2 years. But then I got arrested on false charges, and the police outed my identity. So now pretty much everyone in the world can Google my name.
Wow.
Before that, it was pretty.
I guess you just got to change your tactics. You realize your secret is no longer as secret as you wanted it to be.
Well, the good thing is by the time they outed it, people had already figured out my mission. They'd already figured out what I was here to do. So I get a lot more support than people would imagine. I go into stores and people come up and shake my hands, and little kids are like, "That's what Bruce Wayne looks like when he's not Batman." And I'm like, kind of. So it's actually kind of cool.
Now, speaking of Batman, I ask all of my superhero guests the same question. Have you incorporated any enhancement into your uniform, such as Batman's utility belt?
My uniform is studded with enhancements, but let's see. I have a global Wi-Fi positioning thing, so when it's in my suit, I can use my own suit has its own IP address to basically search the internet when I'm in the suit. It's got bulletproof stab plating. It's got stab plating itself that's stab resistant. It has an earpiece in it that does voice dialing, so I can dial 911 when I see a crime. I carry a cell phone that is traceable, so my wife at home can actually look at a grid of the city and trace where I'm walking on the city. It's very helpful. As far as super gadgets go, those have all backfired on me pretty hard, but the suit itself is pretty awesome.
In one of the modern slews of Batman movies, Morgan Freeman played the guy that Bruce Wayne went to design all the bells and whistles in his costume and then ultimately the Batmobile.
Absolutely.
Do you have somebody out there who's designed all this stuff for you?
I got two people. I have Lance does all the rubber work for me, and then a guy named Ultra Carl who's a strange man in his own right, but amazing. Does all the suit modifications. We recently made a flamethrower where you can pull your hand back and shoot a flamethrower. I don't know if I'm going to put it in the suit because I don't know why I would use it for anything, but it's amazing.
But it's cool, yeah. It's definitely that's definitely a cool accoutrement, I have to say. Are there any real or fictional heroes from whom you derive inspiration, or after whom you have modeled your own identity?
Yeah, actually, the suit basic shape and design is modeled after Nightwing, which is the only comic book that I really read. He was Batman's first Robin, and he basically left Batman because Batman's a jerk, which, the rest of us can all agree with.
All right, now you made big news. Now we got some of the preliminaries out of the way, but you made national news recently in the Seattle area when you tried to break up a fight, and you ended up being arrested for your troubles. Can you give us an idea what actually happened and take us up to the point of the arrest and then through that?
Yeah, I definitely can. The great thing about the way that we do things is I always roll with a team no matter where I go. So even right now, we're on an interview, and I'm sitting in a room with my team. I've got Mantis sitting right next to me. I never go anywhere alone, And we're even rolling camera on our conversation that we're having. And that's what saved me in this altercation was the video comes out and it's completely counter what the police report says. And that's why the DA decided to not charge me with a crime. So.
Well, now, okay, you're getting ahead of us because a lot of us are going, wait a minute, what happened? Okay, so first off, what happened? You were approaching this area and what? You saw some people fighting or something or other?
Well, I'm on patrol on First Avenue. And I'm with Ryan McNamee, my camera guy, and T. Krulos, a journalist from Milwaukee. And we look to the left, and we see this huge brawl going on where people are fighting, and we see a guy get thrown to the ground and kicked in the face. So I start running in, and I immediately start warning people, hey, call 911, call 911. I get there, and I say, hey, back off, and they kick him in the face one more time, and I pepper spray the guy who kicked the guy in the face only. At that point, the girlfriend of that guy gets really mad and removes her shoe, or her shoe is already off, I'm not even sure, and starts hitting me with the shoe. And I calmly tell her, I said, I'm wearing body armor, this doesn't even hurt. And it's kind of a funny part of the clip.
But pardon me. What kind of shoe was this? Was this like, was this a 6-inch heel, or was this like a flat? I mean, what was she using?
Given the way it felt on my face, I'm going to go with flat. It didn't feel like very pokey.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that one.
Well, there are shoes, and then there are shoes.
Yeah, so she goes to town with the shoe, and I'm not in the business of pepper spraying or pushing women, so I just let her hit me. Luckily, she was drunk enough she fell over on her own. I continued my circle around, and then that's when the other guy started yelling in Russian. And the guy that we were originally trying to save hops in the car, speeds around the corner, comes back, and actually hits somebody, does a hit and run. So I go up after that guy and get his license plate on my GoPro, which is a small camera attached to my chest. And I come back into the scene, and the other guys who were originally involved in the fight decide to attack me. I pepper spray a few of them, and the cops show up after that, after we called, and this is, 13 or 14 minutes into the altercation.
Now, had you been the one to call the cops?
We had 4 people call the cops. My suit dialed the police. So Bo dialed the police, Ryan dialed the police, and finally the journalist dialed the police because he was getting really nervous.
And by the way, do you speak Russian?
Not fluently or at all.
Okay, so you didn't understand what he was saying. All right. So the police
arrived. The thing about hands is they really make things really easy to understand. You point at a guy and yell in enough languages, and I'll figure it out.
Okay, so the police arrive. Now what?
The police arrive, and the cop comes up, and we're the only side that is called 911. So the police show up, and we flag them. I'm actually really excited, because I'm like, hey, I'm going to stop getting hit in the face with a shoe now. The police show up, and I'm like, hey, and the cop comes up to us and basically makes it really clear that he has the intention of arresting me. And at that point, he does so. And it's very interesting.
For what?
He took a statement from... Good?
For what?
Well, that's kind of what we were trying to figure out. What they said it was 4 counts of assault. We gave the video out to the DA. We put it public. The news people saw the video. There's a lot of polls online, and pretty much it's a unanimous sweep that I didn't assault anybody. I was in jail for maybe 7 hours. I got out. We went to the court. The court case lasted maybe 5 minutes. We walked in. They let us walk right out. But at that time, my identity was already blown. So I went out and just did the take the mask off, tell everyone my identity, because I don't want people to think that I'm delusional or live in a fantasy world. I wanted them to know that I'm very aware of the consequences. The DA is still technically considering whether to charge me or not. It has been a long time, so I'm just going to assume that they're not going to charge me, considering they didn't charge me on the arraignment.
Hopefully
not. And there's no investigation open, so...
You ignore them at your peril. Just understand that. If they think there's a beneficial reason to do it, they will do it. Charge you again.
Right. So, yeah, they have up to 2 years, I think, to make that happen. I honestly think it's like this. It can't stop me from doing my job. So I'm going to go do my job. And if they charge me, I would love to go to court and show them the video, because it's really open and shut.
Now here's if they charge you, they're going to try and come up with something to charge you with that they can make stick. They won't charge you with the assault. They'll find something else. If they do, I agree. They may just let it drop. But do you have some kind of or did you prior to this have some kind of a relationship with the local cops? I mean, did they know who you were? You even indicated that, that you designed the suit so that they'd be able to tell the difference between the criminal and you. So
yeah, when I first started patrolling, I kind of kept my name under the radar, and no one really knew who I was. But the minute you stop a real crime, the first thing the cop does is go, okay, can I see some identification? And you can't go, well, I'm a superhero, so you can't have it.
Right, but
so, at that point I gave it to him. The good thing is all the crimes that I stop are public. So they use a lot of other people as witnesses, cite my identification, and keep it private. You can't show someone's identification as a witness to a crime in America. It's against the law.
So what I'm trying to get at is that didn't the cops know you? Didn't they know Phoenix? Oh, he patrols
completely. I went to the police station with me and a few of my guys, and we said, hey, this is us. We took our masks off, took photos, put our masks on, took photos, and said, hey, this is who we are. So all the police were aware. And I also, cops, call me by name when I'm not in my suit. And this specific officer definitely knew who I was.
The one who arrested you?
Oh, most definitely. We have a very interesting history together. So.
Oh, man. Okay. Now, this also raised another question. What kind of relations do you have with the public? How do people generally regard you?
Well, here's a good example of a thing where you're interested. I'm downtown and I'm walking around, and I have my Jones suit on, and I'm walking through the city, and I come across a guy who's harassing another person, and I walked up, and the guy who's getting harassed is like, oh, good, it's Jones. And there's a concert that's happening inside the building, and people start filing out of the building to take photos and shake my hand while I tell this other guy to go away in the middle of the headliner's concert. So people in the city really, really love it, and they're really, really supportive. I think if the people didn't like me, I don't think I would do this. If I didn't feel like it was a service to the community, I don't think I would do it.
Well, now, do you have a set patrol area or certain times or certain locations where you're on the streets there and people know that, or is it kind of just where the wind blows this day?
Well, a good way to get hurt is to be like, hey, guys, at 9, meet me here. So I never have one of those. What we do is we go online and look at the crime reports. We look at how long it takes the police to respond and how frequent the crime is. We map it out and give ourselves a 4-hour block. And we try to hit those areas, different parts of the day, to really maximize the crime we're going to see. So if we see a lot of pickpocketing happens between 6 and 9, we go to that area between 6 and 9. And we basically walk around and do our patrol that way. We really try to go where people are in danger for violent crime, and the response time is low.
Now, yeah, you've been the recipient of some violence. That bulletproof vest helped stop a bullet in Tacoma, I understand. And somebody, you intervened in some kind of a drug deal and ended up getting stabbed with a knife. It damaged the uniform, not you, fortunately. But I mean, you've encountered some violence.
That's kind of true. The knife was about 6 inches long, and I only got cut with maybe half an inch, so I consider that a win. But in the world, I really was injured. I just wasn't injured to the point where I needed to go to the hospital.
Yeah, well, and so how is that? I mean, how is that for you? You're going out on these are daily patrols?
Yeah, 5 days a week.
So you're going out on daily patrols, okay, and you've already been the recipient of all kinds of violence in the process. What does it do for you? Does it kind of steel your resolve, or do you come home after the day and say, my God, what am I doing? What if something happens? I mean, how does that affect you?
There's a combo of both. It's really kind of weird. It depends on the circumstances. There's a total combo of both. A good way is when I got shot, I came home after I got shot, I laid in bed with my broken ribs, and I was like, this is stupid. I'm done. I put the suit away. I'm like, this is incredibly dumb. And then I was talking to one of my friends, and he says, you did a great thing there. And I was like, what do you mean? I got shot randomly. I don't even know who shot me. And he's like, well, you were around people, right? And he goes, yeah. He goes, well, it's a good thing a guy fires a bullet and hits the one guy wearing body armor. And it kind of hit me. I realized, wow, maybe the goal there, maybe I really did save someone. If I'm in an alleyway and there's people behind me and I get hit with a bullet and no one else does, and I'm fine, really, I mean, I have a broken rib or so, but I'm fine, and everyone else is fine, maybe that's a win. And it kind of redirected the way I think. So when I get hurt now, I think it's a good thing they're attacking the guy in the body armor with the years of martial arts experience versus a random guy walking down the street. It's sort of a buffer, I guess, between the citizens and criminals.
There you go, and that's great that you're willing to do that. What are your long-term goals as a superhero?
It was pretty much easier when it started. When it started, it was like, dress up in bulletproof gear, go downtown, stop criminals. But now I'm realizing there's a lot more than just street crime that makes things hard. For example, our city has this rule: if there's no victim, there's no crime. So if you go and beat somebody down and that person runs away, even if you catch it on video, catch all of it, as long as the victim is not there, there's no crime. I would love to change that. I would love to pass some kind of legislative law that says, hey, if we have witnesses and video of this crime, we can charge you based on the fact that there's an abundance of evidence. I would love to do that. I really would love to change some of the way that people look at street violence. And I think I'm going to have to get into that next. I really think I'm going to start lobbying for different sort of laws to make it easier for citizens to stand up for themselves. To make it less people need a Phoenix Jones who's willing to get in there, and make it more, hey, we're all riding a bus together, and if you pull a knife on that guy, you got 30 dudes in a bus that aren't going to put up with it.
What do you tell people who ask how they can become real-life superheroes in their regions?
You know what? Funny thing you should mention that. I have a guy with me. His name's the Mantis. He's been patrolling with me for about 2 months now. And he's been a friend of mine for like 10 years, and he didn't know it was me till I took my mask off. And when he wanted to patrol, I gave him a certain list of rules and things he needed to do, so I'm just going to let him tell you. Mantis, it's all yours, buddy.
All right. Hey there.
We have only about 90 seconds, Mantis. Go ahead.
Okay, not a problem. What I was told by Phoenix when I first approached him was, well, do you have training? And my answer was yes. I also have a black belt under me and a lot of mixed martial arts. But basically it was, If you have the training and you really want to make a difference, then patrol is welcome. If you don't have the training, then there was a lot to do online with domestic violences and other child-related crimes and things like that.
Exactly. And bulletproof gear, which I gave him.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, I appreciate that. Do you have, I know we have the Real Life Superheroes website here, but is there a separate website for the Rain City movement?
There's my Facebook page. Go on Facebook, find Phoenix Jones on there. It's there's a lot of fake ones. It's the one that has like 40,000 people on it. You can't miss it. And New Zealand is up there on my list of like most people. I think you guys have like the second most people from a certain country on my page. So it's awesome.
Oh, that's cool. Do you ever have like groups of you from the group of 10 who go out on special missions or anything like that?
We do, but most of those missions are to identify drug dealers or to identify sex trafficking. So we'll have certain people go out without their uniforms, not me because I'm too noticeable, and, literally report back, hey, we're seeing a lot of drug activity here. We're seeing a lot of weird sex trafficking maybe. And then we'll go in there suited up and really look into it. When they do missions like that, they're strictly observation missions. No one gets involved in anything when we're not masked up, bulletproofed up, and understand the legality of what we're doing.
I hope all of you out there agree with me that it's nice to know that there are people like this out there, that there are people like this who are out there taking care of things themselves rather than looking to others to do it for them. Phoenix Jones, I want to thank you so much for spending this time with us, and God bless you and the entire Rain City superhero movement. We appreciate you all being out there and doing what you're doing. www.reallifesuperheroes.org is the website. Thanks, Phoenix.
Hey, anytime.
All right.